because this is the wild raisin bush. Like I said, there's not many here. We were unable to find a lot, but I just wanted to take you here to identify them.
Yeah.
So you know what you're going to be looking for.
Okay.
Okay? Their leaves also turn, see how they turn purple? That's another way of identifying them. Wit rod is a shoot that comes off of the wild raisin bush. The reason why we use that is because the heart of the wit rod is so tiny that there's hardly any chance of it cracking. It bends beautifully. It ranges from, say, 3 feet to 8 feet high. On a rocky area, they can round a pit, around a road like this. Identifying wit rod, especially for new students, the easiest way to do it is the berries. They grow in a small cluster of little tiny white berries. And I also make them look at the leaf. The leaf almost looks like an arrowhead. And on the edge of the leaf, if you look really close, it has like a serrated edge. And it's kind of purple on the edge. There's one I call the stink bush. It looks very much like the wit rod, except for the leaf is a little bit rounder. It comes out and goes round instead of the arrowhead shape. I call it the stink bush because it do smell very bad. Very bad. And once you cut it, you can smell it. And it doesn't bend. Well, it'll crack. We look for new shoots. New shoots have very few little branches on it, so therefore few knots. Knot can be troublesome because they will crack if you don't watch what you're doing. So we try to get the new shoots, which has very few knots on it. Usually at the most about 3 rods, unless it's an abnormally big tree, which you do get them where you can get up to like 6 nice rods off a tree. But normally about 3. Always bend to soften them up too, so they'll bend, eh? You got less chances of them cracking. Not often they will crack, but if you did do this and you soften them up, they will definitely bend for you. So much easier. Yeah. And I take them and I peel them. Yeah. Go with the way the tree grows. Yeah. The tree grows up, so you cut your knots this way. And I taper them down so that one end of the rod is the same circumference of the other end, so that they're pretty well the same. Then I take them and nail them onto my molds. The molds are for to make the rings. The basket consists of 2 rings, the handle and of course the top, the side. When you put them on the molds, you've got to basically leave them overnight in a nice warm area so they dry. And they'll typically dry overnight, 8 to 12 hours. And they'll stay in that shape. They will not distort, they will stay round, yes. Then from there, we have to go get the first harvest of root, and to get enough root to make the ears of the basket, which is the diamonds. It holds the rings together. Also, it holds all the ribs for your bottom of your basket. It holds them all in place. The first thing I would do is, again, we lay tobacco, always. Traditionally looking for anything 6 inches and over, because they already have a nice 1 inch or even 1.5 inch master root that's already established, so that supports the tree after you harvest the small ones from it, right? And then I would dig in until I found the root I wanted. Then I will follow that root all the way to the very end. There's one there for a smaller basket, that'd be perfect, see?
Oh, you go all the way along. So
You cut them off in
the
here.
bigger the root, you have to have for a bigger basket.
Yeah, you get to fill in more, right?
Okay.
But that's perfect for, probably for an ear.
Nice and long. Go on.
Here, that's one. And when that root is harvested, I will immediately cover up the ground and put it back the way it was when I found it. So when I'm finished harvesting the roots, you can't tell I'm there. First thing you do, you all need little knots. Every root got all little new shoots coming off of it, little tiny ones. Clean them right clean so there's no knots or anything. Then you peel your root.
And you peel from the fat to the skin?
From the fat end, the same way as it grows, eh? It just seems to be easier if you follow the growth. And then you split your root. And depending on the size of your baskets, how thin you want your root, you might have to split it a second time, or even a third time, depending on how small you want your root. You don't want to go any bigger than a 1/2 inch on your root. Any bigger than that is kind of a waste, unless you're making a real big basket. Then you want to go with bigger root, of course. But traditionally for these size baskets, you go with from a 1/2 inch right down to a needle point, till the root runs right out. But doing with your fingers the way I'm doing it, that's the way you should keep your fingers. And you'll never have any trouble splitting your roots.
Even, keep them even.
Keep them even pressure. If it gets fat, you pull on the fat side, it'll get skinny.
Yeah.
And they'll come back, eh?
Yeah, it'll come right back. See how much of that root you took off? Look?
Oh, wow.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
A lot, that's right.
But look, you feel your root now all the way, feel your root all the way through. It's
Pretty well all
same
the way
thickness
through.
all the way.
Yeah. Oh, it is too.
Okay, now you have to split again.
Split again? Okay, perfect. Down
Right
there.
from one end to the other. Alright, so you gotta wiggle the knife in, don't push your knife in, because you'll cut your fingers off. And then you start splitting it backwards, Parker. I call that tapering. What I like to do is keep my root uniform. So the same thickness and the same width, pretty well all the way through. So that's what you're looking for. You start at the thin end, and you take so much of that root and you split it all the way through. Now, once you get halfway through your root, you might have to do it again to get it the same thickness as the other end. So, like I say, you might have to taper it maybe 2 or 3 times in order to get it to the thickness you like. See where we marked it? That's where you wanna glue it. A little bit of glue there.
Yeah.
So this ties this in, right?
Yeah, because once we take the
All tight every time you go. So there you
Okay.
go.
we're done with our board.
Go right to the very
Alright.
end with that.
Okay.
The other end.
You gotta take your finger out.
You be a part of the
She don't like to let go.
You're the one that gotta take your finger
I
out.
gotta show you. We'll put the 2 hoops together, one in one way and one in the other way, and put them together so you end up with a handle and, of course, a top ring. Make sure you're pretty well dead center, each one.
Nicer if she got off of
2/3 on the bottom, 1/3 on the top for your handle. And there you go. They're pretty well right there. From there, we put the ears in. You go to the next one, like that. See, this will hold itself now. Under.
Not mine.
Turn it a little bit, quarter turn.
One like that.
Right next to it,
Leans, right?
Oh, okay.
under.
Brought it back.
Hold it up, quarter turn. Go to this one. See what I'm doing?
Hide my hand.
Over to the next one. See how the diamond is forming?
Oh, look how cool that
Yeah.
looks.
See that?
Nice.
And you gotta keep it tight. Always keep it tight, nice and snug and nice and straight.
Yeah.
Over and under, and then you go to the next one. Roots are always booked. You get 2 sides. So you make your 2 sides of your root identical. One goes on one side, and when that one is run out, you go to the other side of your basket and you start with that one. Therefore, your basket is always consistent. It always looks the same. Then again, you go harvest again. You always want your materials to be fresh, so that they will bend and the pressure will stay on them. You go get your more wet rod, the smaller wet rod, which I only harvest like maybe a foot long. Soften them up first here now. Soften them up first now.
Oh, soften them up first.
Yeah, soften them up. Again, you peel them, taper them down so that they're pretty well the same, uniformed in diameter, and you taper the ends, point the ends so that they all fit in inside the ears. Bend them, make them round, and fit them in the ears. And the pressure from them being green will keep them in place. This first one you want to be right on top of this one, the center one, this one here, just like that.
So it's right in the corner.
Right on top. I'll put another one in, it'd be easier for you to see. Like this, look. Here, and I hold it right on top of that one. Just like that. And I mark it with my thumb. That's got to be cut off there.
So like right there?
Yep. Yep, it's got to go right to this, see? So,
Yeah.
right to there. Okay, now you cut it in that spot where your thumb is. Okay.
And the sides don't matter.
Now you should make it form to that roundness. In a standard, say, 6-inch basket, you're going to put in 4 ribs. The one that's in already from the ring, that'll be like 5. And the top one, that'll be like 6. So there's 4 in between. If you want your weaving to be closer, well, you can put in an extra one. I normally do sometimes. I'll put in an extra one to make the weaving close. Our next step is, again, go harvest, but this time we harvest root. Then I start weaving it in between the sticks and you always start at the top ring of your basket, right by the ear. So let's try to get a root in there so we can.
Is that too thick on one
No,
side?
no, that's you start with the skinny end.
Yeah.
Always start with your skinny end.
Yep.
You always start with the smallest end, the needle end of your root. You start at the top ring, and you start weaving over and under, all the way through to the other side of the ring. And once you get to that ring, you take your root and you twist your root and start again under and over so that you always have the round part of your root up showing. When you get to the end of one piece of root, you shove it down through 2 wet rods and you just leave it hang. Your next one, again, starting with the very end, smallest end of your root, you weave it on top of the one that's already there and slide it on top. Then you continue weaving, and as you come back the second time, that's all pushed together and you can't tell where they're joined. It looks like it's all one root.
Just fold them in.
Afterwards, you'll cut all those off when you're done. Inside, just nip them off.
All right.
When you get to the middle, usually I'll pull the root really, really tight so that you can hardly see through them. And then I'll fill that little space in till I can't get another one in there. It's just pressure that holds it in place. There's no tying or anything like that. Wide. There you go, Parker. That's it.
Fantastic.
Hold everything tight, cut everything off, and then go like this. There you go.
Look at that.
Done. She's done, Parker.
I'm all emotional now. We can have get this done.
There you go.
Awesome.
Come down here, you big galoot. Way to go,
That's
buddy.
fantastic, man. Oh my God.
Your mama's gonna love you today.
Oh, she's gonna love this.
You're proud of yourself.
Wicked. That is wicked.
My dad taught me. My father is Anthony White. He's a very well known carpenter in Bay St. George. He was. And when he retired, he picked it up again because he learned this from his mother. And when he was a child, her name was Adelaide Benma. She learned from her grandmother, and in turn from her grandmother. He used to make them, he said, like he told us when he was just a teenager, because they were a necessity back then, right? So they had to make them for the potato harvest, for the for the crops, for the berry harvest, and we used to have a lot of gardens and that here. And he used to make the odd one, but it was nothing thought of it. It was just something that he made, because my dad made everything. If he needed a chair, he made a chair. If he needed a table, he made a table. If he needed a boat, he made a boat. That's the way my dad was. Everything was made, right? I just followed him. I watched him. Yeah. This whole area, upper area here in Shelf Cove is all family. Many of them still live here today. I'm the only one that's ever picked it up. And I'm like that. If my dad did it, I did it. I was kind of a monkey. Monkey see, monkey do. And that's the way I was. And this is how I learned to be a carpenter. I learned how to. I can build a boat. I can build anything I want when it comes to wood. Put my mind to it, I can do it. And then I got it all from him. Myself and my dad, we branched off and we made different styles, right? Pretty well covered all kinds of styles of basket. This is a curl for trout basket. These are made, you hang them on the wall, and they're made the same way. It's just that with your mold, instead of making a full circle, you only make the half of the circle. And you only have half a basket. And this was here, the ones that we used to make. Made quite a few of these for jewelry boxes for the ladies. The ladies love these for jewelry. Like this is a lunch basket, like for taking to work. Yeah. And this is one that he made for Jackie, his husband, Matthias. He's gone now. This is just a little plant basket, a little planter, like a miniature of the big one there. You put a flower in there, right, in a little pot. And again, all these baskets are well over 40 years old. So they last forever. Yeah. But of course, nobody's allowed to touch them. I'm the only one's allowed to touch them. And I take them on pretty well everywhere I go. If I do an exhibition, I take these baskets with me. And a picture of my dad, of course. And it always comes along with me, eh? There was a lady that came here one time from Dexa-Wash. It was a magazine called Dexa-Wash. And she had seen him making these baskets sometime or other, somewhere. And then we were approached by he was approached by the Memorial University. And of course, where I was already learning and everything, well, of course, he pulled me into it too. The cameras were there all day, and we did everything right from beginning to end, yeah, together. And I tell you, it was the time of my life.